What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are going over something of a hot topic in the crypto space. Not just today, not just this week, but really throughout the past few cycles of existence since the CME futures have become a thing. Right? We're going to talk about the Bitcoin CME gap, the dreaded gap that everybody talks about. And the purpose of this video is to better inform, especially some of the newer people in the space, that not all gaps get filled, right? Yeah. Not all gaps get filled. A lot of you might be being misled by following people who say that all gaps get filled. And statistically speaking, most of them do, but not all gaps get filled. And it's very important that you don't get stuck in Gap City waiting for your gap to get filled, because you're just going to be sitting there, man, waiting for that wonderful gap to get filled, that wonderful gap of yours, and it's not going to get filled. It's not going to happen. There's a couple of gaps that I want to point out in mind just to hopefully draw some light to the fact that Bitcoin will likely never go below $100,000 again, okay? Or that at least if that's all you're clinging to is this gap at 92K, that's not enough. It's not enough, okay? You got to look at everything else, okay? Let's get into it. All right, so here we are. Looking at this chart. To get to this chart, if anybody's wondering, BTC1 exclamation point, you could also just type in BTCF, Bitcoin Futures CME. That's this chart right here. We're looking at the daily time frame, and gaps, you guys, are defined as this. Let's go over one real quick. Okay, so obviously that's a gap there. This also is a gap, in case you didn't notice, where you close the low here. This is where your day closed right here on Friday, and then on Monday you opened up. There's a gap right there, and you filled that gap. Okay, there's gaps that you can see, and then there's, I don't know what these are. It's still a gap, but there's like a name for it where it's not a hidden gap. It's just less obvious because it doesn't look like there's a gap in the chart, but there is a gap in the price action. If you can't see it, I don't know how to better explain it. Let's try again here, right? You can see here the day closed here, but the day opened here. So there was a gap in between there. This wick, it came down, filled that gap, and then we moved up. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to just be this visible gap, like a hole in space and time, right? Anyways, with that being said, a lot of people are bearish, yes, bearish, down to 103K because there's a gap there, down to 97K because there's a gap there, down to 92K because there's a gap there. And if we were to fill any of these gaps, I suppose the most likely one would be 103K, but we're not going there, right? We're not going there. Don't listen to crazy people, right? Listen to me. I'm the captain now. Maybe, maybe we go down there. That'd be pretty crazy. I'll tell you what, guys, if we go down that low, I think the bull market would be over. I think we'd really run the risk of this bull market being completely demolished and off the rails, because we had so much bullish stuff come up here. This would really look like a double top at that rate, and man, it would not be good. It would not be good. So we don't want to see the price go down there. We're not gonna, if we come down here, we're not gonna go down there and then come back up. That's probably not gonna happen. But you never know. You never know. Maybe I'm just being dramatic right now. But let's go through time. And besides these three gaps which haven't filled, by the way, if you were waiting for every gap to fill, just put it in perspective. 92K down here, you would have missed out on this rally. Waiting for it to fill. Oh, it's going to fill. I'm not going to buy here. No, why would I buy this low? Why would I buy the lows of this range? Why would I do that? The gap hasn't filled yet. And then boom, you missed out on that too, right? You're going to continue to miss out. You're going to continue to wait. Let's go through time and just show you guys some of these gaps that have not filled, right? If we're going through here, this one is pretty subtle, but you can still see it. Where the day closed was right here, right here. And the next day opened here. We wicked down. We didn't close that gap completely, right? We just wicked a little bit into it, but we didn't close it completely. If you're saying, well, that doesn't count, we wicked close enough. You know, we got close enough. We wicked into it. Well, we wicked into this one. We wicked into that 92K one. We wicked into this one at 96K. Hell, we didn't. I guess we didn't wick into this one here. So the 103K one is probably the most viable one based on that. But I don't think we need to fill it anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? Wicking into it doesn't fill it necessarily, but maybe good enough, you know. Looking at it here, there's another gap here at 59.8K. There's a gap right here. Can you see it closed here, opened here? There's literally a gap between these two candles right here at 53.7K. You don't like it because it doesn't look like these fancy little gaps with the big gaping holes? Okay, let's find one with a big gaping hole for you. Let's just go back in time. Let's see. Where's our big gaping gaps? There's one right there at $47.8 thousand. We got another one down here at 39.7K right there. There's another gap even right there at 39.2K. If we keep on going back in time, all of these little gaps, these less noticeable gaps, are piled on throughout the way. We have one clearly right here at 33K as well. There's a few of them that take place right here, just like what we've done recently, right? Where you had like 3 back to back. You got one right there at 31.5K, one at 29.6K, one down here at 26.9K. Of course, the gap down here at 25K, and the big gap right here down at 20 to 21K. You guys remember everybody that was waiting on that gap to fill? Everybody was so certain that gap would fill back over here. We've had tons of, and man, we can go back to the last cycle. This isn't just new to this cycle, right? There's gaps on gaps on gaps, okay? It happens all the time. The only gaps that are guaranteed to get filled on the Bitcoin CME futures chart are the gaps that are to the upside, right? The down gaps, they don't have to be filled. The gaps to the upside, it's just a matter of time before they get filled. They all get filled. All the up gaps get filled, right? Or actually, I guess it'd be gap downs, because if you gap up, this is a gap up. Those ones don't have to be filled. It's the gaps down that they don't have to be filled. They just inevitably will be filled, and that's the whole point of this video, right? You have to get it out of your head. A lot of people who rely on these gaps, they get it in their head that this is their one secret sauce, their one hidden mojo to this TA Kung Fu game that we play in the crypto space to try and give them an edge in trading. And typically, like 90% of the time, it works out. But there are times where it doesn't work out. We just identified plenty of them throughout this cycle, right? 90% of the time means 1 out of every 10, right? Maybe 1 out of every 20. I don't care. We get gaps every single week. It's just inevitable. But to rely on it as a source of information alone is wrong, and it's going to lead you astray, right? If you have nothing else, if there's all these other fundamental things that suggest the price is going to go up, if we're looking at the charts and the indicators and they're all suggesting that the price is going to go up and we're at relative areas of support, which we are, and there's a bunch of shorts piled on that are left to clear out. We've decimated the longs, and open interest is just completely diminished in itself. We've been consolidating in this area for over a month now, and you think that we still have to go lower, right? Just think logically here, man. Just because of the gap, you think we have to go lower? That's not how this works. Okay, Bitcoin and crypto is a little bit more, let's say, sophisticated than just this simple superstition as it is. So, I don't really think I have anything else that I want to say. The whole purpose of this video is to just easily, it's very simple and it's not a hard thing to do, but just easily debunk this necessity nonsense to fill the gaps, right? CME gaps do not need to be filled. They do not need to be filled. And out of all the gaps that we looked at, the only one that I would accredit as a possible outcome more than any of the other ones that I could see getting filled would be 93K or 103K. But to be fair, if we fill that 103K gap, this bull market might be in jeopardy, you guys. That would not be good. That would be quite the problem indeed, because then this is a double bottom or a double top. And at that rate, I mean, let's just see. If we're all the way up at the high here, we fill that gap. It's a 17% drop. We've seen bigger drops than that this cycle, but man, after forming new all-time highs like that, to drop that low below our prior all-time highs, we haven't done that. We just don't do that, man. It's not something that we do, right? Here, we barely got above our all-time highs, and we spent a lot of time consolidating, right? Are we going to do this? Is that what we're going to do? Because then if the best case scenario then would be that we go through a long phase of a pause on the bull market and we don't start rallying until 2026. And it really is the super cycle, but it's not so super, is it? Because we're going to be sleeping for months. It's not that just because of that, like, I don't want to see Bitcoin go down there so it can't go down there. It's just we better hope not. You better hope that it doesn't, right? And I don't think a gap in itself is enough of an edge to give us a statistical probability that we go down there. There's so many other things that are influencing the price, I think, to the upside more so than the downside. Let's see here. Did we go lower? Because I did say that the low was in on Bitcoin. I made a video on it recently. I just want to see, did we go lower? Or am I right? Oh, I'm wrong. I'm off by $3, $4, something like that. We'll see. And maybe more by the end of this hour. But I do think that we're at the low, you guys. If this isn't the low, I did say in that video, I'm like, if that's not the low, we're like within 1% of the low. So this could be it here. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but we're very, very near that area. I would expect that we start moving up any day now. today is probably the day we find our low, Tuesday, the 19th. I got nothing else. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Yes, I said the low is in. I think it's a great time to buy. Okay, the shakeout's over, man. The shakeout's over. If it's not over, we're like 95% of the way there. So there's no harm. If you can sit through a little bit of pain, there's no harm in getting in now. That's just my opinion. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your bags. Bye-bye.